Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600, in the 6th century, so 500 to 600 sometime BC. In the 6th century BC, and it is all about living a more reasonable life. Living a life where we're not asking things around us to change for us. We accept things as they are. We accept ourselves as we are, and are able to do the best we can with what we're given. And it doesn't mean that all things are equal. It doesn't necessarily mean that, of course, like there's going to be challenges. Of course, there's going to be problems. Of course, there's going to be things that happen. There's going to be feelings that we have about things. And when we feel those feelings, when we have those challenges, when we see all of that happening in our lives, what we get to do is learn about ourselves, learn about what it is we're carrying. Globe traveling shoes. How are you?
You.
Yep.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So sometimes people join and aren't really sure, they didn't want to join. Is that the case?
Yes and no, but I'm here now.
Okay, well, if you're here with me, then let me. Is this the first time you've heard my show?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so this is what we do. We talk about the Tao Te Ching. Have you ever heard of the Tao Te Ching?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, wonderful. So it's an ancient text. It was written in the 6th century BC. And I've been studying the Tao for a long time. I wrote a rendition of the Tao. I wrote a translation of it. And what this show is called Tao of the Day. And what I do is I use the Tao Te Ching sort of as an oracle. So if there's something going on in your life, what I'll do is I'll ask, hey, what's going on with you these days? And we'll chat a little bit about that. And then I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81. Because there are 81 very short verses in the Tao Te Ching. And then we use that text to help you sort of think about new perspective, the issue that's going on or the thing that's going on in your life. Does it sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So what is going on with you these days?
I need to transition into a growth mindset and also to expand upon things that I've been planning that are just dormant. And I'm also looking for a career shift.
No, that's a lot. So it's a lot of transition. You're looking to receive transition. I'm going to say everything that you're doing, like you're probably receiving these things in abundance on a regular basis, but are unable to see them. So let's go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 81.
Two.
Number 2. Number 2 is entitled Identifying the Manifestation. And when we talk from the standpoint of the Tao Te Ching, the manifestation is anything real, anything made of matter, anything like in the world that you can touch and grasp and contemplate, and anything that is that we're able to interact with, any temporary expression, anything that's going to go away. And so this is entitled Identifying the Manifestation. And it says, opposites exist among the particular. Identifying the beautiful creates the ugly. Identifying good creates evil. Identifying the particular separates all manifestations. Reality and fantasy are opposing thoughts. Difficult and easy are opposing degrees. Long and short are opposing perceptions of time or space. Because of this, the master doesn't rely on words. She teaches by being without explanation. In this way, she is the most helpful. She inspires all things to be without rejecting them. She gives them life but refuses to possess them. Her actions spring forth from perfection. They are not hers to own. Thus, they will never be forgotten. Did any word or phrase in that stand out to you?
Yes, where you talked about what she does, that kind of stood out to me. All the things you said about she, it kind of
Yeah.
embodies my personality because I like to ensure that everybody else's dreams come to fruition, but I have difficulty with my own.
Yeah. And when it comes to transition for yourself, that means taking on a role of maybe, for a time, being selfish. Or at least being selfish under the current definition you hold of selfish, and might have to expand, that you might have to put someone else second because you're going to step into a role that, and all of this, right? In the beginning of this, we were talking about opposites, right? What is you are super helpful because you're doing stuff for other people. And so if you want to be helpful, you have to create selfishness. Because opposites exist among the particular. That's the first line. Opposites exist among the particular. You are particularly helpful. What's the opposite of helpful? Not helpful or selfish or whatever, however we want to define it. Identifying the beautiful creates the ugly. It's beautiful to be helpful. You may believe it's ugly to be selfish, but the selfishness that you are going to need to embody in order for you to transition into a life that is more helpful might seem ugly sometimes. Identifying the good creates evil. It's not about how you're identifying it. There is no selfishness and there is no helpfulness. But once you identify it, you create its opposite. And you judge it from that perspective. Now going on to the part where it talks about the master. Because of this, the master doesn't rely on words. She teaches by being without explanation. In this way, she is the most helpful. You don't have to explain yourself. You're still going to be helping others. It's just not going to look so conspicuously helpful because you are going to be helping yourself. And in the end, you will ultimately be helping others because that's what you do. That's what we all do, actually. But we get it marred in definitions and we get it marred in judgments.
Agreed.
She inspires all things to be without rejecting them. She gives them life but refuses to possess them. And that means even you, the future you, needs you to be something that you haven't been yet. And you have to step into that with all of your being. And sometimes it's hard to embrace a new identity. Sometimes it's hard to embrace ourselves, because we're under the influence. Like if you haven't heard me, I talk about living under the influence of others, right? We're born, we live under the influence of our parents, then we live under the influence of the education system, then we live under the influence of our society. And if we're if we're a second born, then we want to support others more than we want to take for ourselves. And I don't know if you're a second born, but it sounds like you may be.
I'm a firstborn, actually.
You're a firstborn. Usually firstborn takes after the head of household, but it depends on what the household look like. Like firstborns are amazing, take on so much responsibility. And they can accomplish so many things. And in doing that, they may put themselves last in some aspects, especially when it comes to supporting the family. Whatever that means. Like family could mean anything. Family could mean, because like it depends, but it is your job biologically to take over the family. So you have to do some shit. Like that's your job. Like you got to do some things. And the role of responsibility in your life as a firstborn is usually pretty strong. Of course, that does depend on what you witnessed as head of household and what that experience was. But I'm seeing that you want to do something for yourself.
Yeah.
But the responsibility that you have for other people is so strong that it is difficult for you to put that aside, put that responsibility aside. But again, that is identifying the particular. You're responsible. But it's like you're going to have to let go of some of that identity of you being responsible if you want to completely transition all of this stuff, because you can't do it all. You're only one person. Now, I know you're a type A. You get shit done. You wake up. You got your routine. You do all the things. And yes. But until you can embrace yourself completely, which means embracing the fact that you have the capacity to be selfish just as much as you have the capacity to be responsible. Because you aren't just one. And there isn't strength in only being one. There's strength in being able to be all things. You haven't been put here to just be limited by one definition. When it says here, she teaches by being without explanation. In this way, she is the most helpful. But that means like you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to do things that are so conspicuous. Sometimes you get taken on a subtle journey that teaches you more, that allows you to engage in yourself and who you are and all that you're capable of, rather than just that you feel like you're good at. Firstborns are good at a lot of things, but the things they're not good at, they sometimes avoid. And they compensate by being better at the things they're good at. But sometimes it's good for us to challenge ourselves with things we don't think we're good at, just so we can, expand our horizons and stay humble. Thoughts?
Uh, spot on. Spot on. And when we talk about, I'm kind of like flabbergasted right now, but when we talk about she teaches, it's actually, that's what I do, but I want to do it in a different capacity, to a different audience, to a global audience, and in a different area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to branch out into that area. But I feel trapped because I'm not selfish enough, and I need to make more time to take everything that I have and use it for me and expand it. My horizons, just like you said.
I'm hearing in what you're saying, like the idea that you don't want to abandon those you're teaching now. And that's beautiful. But that fear is coming from, like you're possibly having felt the sting of abandonment or felt the sting of being of not having someone follow through. And you can you're there for them.
You broke up there for a second. Would you mind repeating that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was just saying that, and you're going to drop off in a moment. Sorry about that. I'm gonna finish this. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like in what I'm hearing is you may be. I'm going to bring you back up, and then we'll chat. You may be, and I do have a couple people in the queue, so we'll keep this quick. But you may be feeling like you don't want to abandon the people that you're currently teaching, the people that you're currently supporting, in order for you to expand. And that might be a fear that you have, but that's a fear that you may be carrying from your childhood. Maybe you don't want to be left behind. Maybe you don't want to be abandoned. And you're afraid they're going to feel that way because you know how it feels to be doing that. But if that is an experience that you did have, you can trust that that's not what you're doing. You're loving them, and you're going to continue loving them, even if you're not physically with them. And that love. Know if you're breaking up or whatnot, but
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
Okay. I got you now. So yeah. So well, what I do now is I'm going to when I'm done with this.
Okay, there you are. You're back. Okay.
Maybe it's my internet. I apologize. I will. I'll look into it. But
Okay.
thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will. And hopefully we'll be able to chat again soon.
I hope so. Is this every week your show, or how does this work?
Yeah, Monday through Friday. I'm here 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Central,
All right.
7 a.m.
All right.
Eastern, wherever you are.
Thank you. I'll chime in. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So we're going to bring Max up. I'm going to, while we're bringing Max up, I'm going to plug in my internet and everything and see how everything's going. Hey, Max, what's going on, man?
Hey, Martin John, what's up?
No,
Good morning.
having a good day. Good morning.
I'm also having a good day. Despite getting 3 hours of sleep, I am very productive today. I've already done my meditation, my yoga. I've cleaned up my workstation, my art station, whatever you want to call it. I've done some laundry.
Let's
Done
stop
some
there.
cleaning,
Let's stop there. I don't care. Like, I'm glad you're feeling productive. That's all great. But you are here with me now, and that's what's most important. And we're just going to, let's take this time to just take a breath and not feel as if we need to do anything.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I answered a question that was posed to me, and it was, how are you going to take care of yourself through Noom Vibe? And it was, how are you going to take care of yourself this week? And I said, I'm going to give myself grace for resting, because I have a hard time not doing anything, like not doing anything. I have ADHD, so like I always have to be doing something.
Okay, let's take a breath. Stop.
Yep.
Stop it. Like when I talk to you, sometimes I feel like you want to say so much, you actually fall out of breath. It's like, oh, I got to say so much. You don't have to say anything.
Perfect.
Because and I want you, because I'm feeling like your breath is very shallow, so it's really high in your chest. And I want you to just sort of like move it down, and like whether or not you're breathing there or not, I just want you to kind of like relax your shoulders. Cool. Relax your shoulders, and I want you to breathe deep in your belly. Like put your hand over your belly button. Breathe into your hand. I want you to just relax, that whole upper body, that whole chest cavity. I want you to just kind of like let it go.
That feels better.
Yeah, we hold so much tension, so much anxiety. High in our body, and it's like, and we don't have faith. We don't have faith in our connection to the earth. We do too much to be smart or productive or upper frontal lobe, all this stuff. Like you're a whole being, right? You have a soul, you have a mind, you got a body, and it's all one thing.
Right.
And this is what makes up you. And it's not about just the things you do and what have you.
The things I do, right.
Yeah, and none of that really matters. Yes, we praise lots of things. We praise productivity. We praise all of that stuff. But the problem with that is if you wake up and are not productive,
you beat yourself up.
Right. Are you not going to come up here and talk to me because you listed all the things you did today? Tomorrow you come up, I did nothing, and now I'm worthless and stuff, right? No, right. Your value doesn't come from what you do.
Yeah.
It's intrinsic.
I was a firstborn, like you were talking about with global traveler.
Global traveling, yeah.
For global traveling, and I was a firstborn, so I'm very much like do. Take care of everyone. Make sure everything's done. So and me being a traditional secondborn, that's so stupid. Like, what are you guys doing? now this is your role. It's your role, so that's okay. But you also need balance. Yes, and I'm a Libra, so I do have balance. But it comes in waves and in places where I don't necessarily so I'm technically a twin. So I was a firstborn and a secondborn.
Well, who came out first?
Actually, my brother did, because I was a C-section.
So you're secondborn.
So I'm technically secondborn.
So here's the big. So I've had a couple clients like this. So here's the big problem in your life. You were probably positioned to exit first and got removed second.
Yeah.
So that's problematic because you are now a second-born. Now, I know it's only seconds or moments or whatever.
It was many minutes. I got stuck in everything, and it was a whole
So either way, we're not going to get marred in the story too much. But one of the big things is you were supposed to be a firstborn, and then at the last moment you became a secondborn. So you are actually in the world, very confused.
Yeah, I feel that.
But
way.
and your brother or sister, your twin, is in the world, sort of with this deep FOMO, not FOMO. This deep feeling of not being enough. Not like he or she will take the firstborn, like all the praise and accolades, but they can't really live up to the responsibility that a firstborn has, and they're going to constantly have this. What is it called? It's like, when you're imposter syndrome. Constantly, like your twin is probably fighting imposter syndrome every moment because they are an imposter. Because they literally were a firstborn, and they are not. They're not. They are not. They didn't prepare to be a firstborn in the womb. You did. We're a firstborn. So you are going to have these confusing sort of episodes in your life, and your twin is going to sit back and take the peanut butter and jelly sandwich first, but he isn't going to actually he's not going to live and benefit in the way that you would, because you would do it with a different sort of experience. You would do it right. You would have a different mentality for it. He is taking it, and he is engaging in privilege that he or she doesn't know how to recognize or regulate. So you guys are going to have these experiences, and this is my theory. I don't know if you'll find this on the internet, but this is my theory about C-section twins, especially when they are removed in an order that isn't natural.
Right. Like, my brother was natural and I was C-section. So it was... He was the firstborn. Yeah.
And he was born naturally.
I was supposed to be born first. But okay. I got stuck in the womb, like somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So yeah, that fits. And that's a difficult thing to do. Like, so now you have to recognize that in your body, that trauma exists and plays itself out. And so when you get triggered and when you get upset and when you get frustrated and all of those things, they very well may go back to this idea that you lost your position. Right. And if you can look at all of the times that, or the fears that you have about losing your position. And this is, like when you come on to my show and tell me about your value, and I'm like, shut up. Like, that's like you're telling me why you deserve the position you have.
Right. That makes so much sense. Wow.
Yeah. So
that whole theory makes so much sense. That was brilliant, actually. Thank you for explaining that, because that really resonates.
It's like those are the things, right? Like, because that's your experience. Your first experience of the world is that your position was taken from you.
Right. Oh man, this is gonna make me think. But I like it. I like this concept a lot. So I'm glad that it was brought up in the first talk. Can I pick a number?
Absolutely.
38.
38. It's entitled Dissolution of Tao. This is about the dissolving of Tao in our lives and in society. Mm-hmm. Masters have nothing to prove, is the first line. Masters have nothing to prove, making their power self-evident. Others continue grasping at power, thus they never have enough. Masters needn't do a thing. In so doing, nothing is disregarded. Others are constantly doing, leaving everything else still to be done. The kind man does, and in so doing reveals all that remains undone. The just man does, and in so doing reveals all that still needs to be done. The moral man does, and when there is no support, will use force to gain consensus. When Tao is lost, we lean on etiquette. When that fails, we turn to morality. When morality dissolves, we teach ritual. Those who have only known ritual are filled with shadow and ignorance. Therefore, the master concerns herself with the substance, not the shadow. She has no destination, only to reside within herself, not the manifestation.
Wow, that was literally what we just talked about.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I love the first line. The master... Oh my god, now I'm forgetting it. I had it.
The masters have nothing to prove.
The masters have nothing to prove. I always feel like I have to prove myself, my worthiness, and...
You continue to grasp at power, thus you never have enough.
Exactly. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for reading that. That was... I was going to pick a different number, but then right as we were talking, 38 came into my mind for some reason. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with 38.
That's how it works.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the thing, like, when you have an identity, and there is an identity that you're carrying that is faulty. And that is that you were supposed to be a firstborn and you became a secondborn. That's just biological and silly and what have you, but it is deeply ingrained in you.
Right.
We no longer live in a society that we need that sort of hierarchy. And maybe we will again someday, and right. Then that's great. But when you can step into your life with awareness and recognize that even though you don't remember your birth, you have information about it, because there are people who may not have information about their birth, because their parents may have passed away and they don't know, and there's not a story behind it. You were supposed to be first, and then got hung up, and then and you getting hung up is interesting, right? Getting hung up on in the womb, whatever, umbilical cord, other things like that, right?
Yeah.
You getting hung up in all that could, like, that literally started your ability to understand the world and build a frame of reference around the world. And so you had to figure, okay, well, things are going to get in my way and people are going to pass me by. Look at how productive I am now that I'm a young adult, and look at all that I've done, right? Yeah. And it's like, but nothing has been stolen from you. This just happened to happen.
Right.
And this is part of your, pre-karmic buffet. You have to work through the feelings and the work. You have to work through these frames of reference so that you can heal. And your kind of mental and addiction and all of that sort of stuff, may stem from these experiences. We're going to bring Max back up and then wrap this up, and then I'll get to Blossom and Mary.
But yeah, no, I definitely think, like, because I was in such a low place and I wasn't showing my quote unquote worth to the world, I think that's where my addiction started, and my self-harm and all of my eating disorders started was because I needed to find an identity. I needed to find some self-worth and some worth from others, and that all makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, and we want to sit with it, right? We want to sit with it, make sure it resonates. Also, just watch yourself, observe yourself. Anytime you get upset, and you're currently in a safe space where you're not, you probably won't really get triggered much. But being triggered is actually going to be a good thing. Hopefully, now that you know that is it related to my maybe being overtaken? Is it related to my maybe disregarded? Is it going to be related to my position? Whatever, however you sort of frame it.
Perceive it, yeah.
Yeah. And then if it can be connected to that, you have to realize that it's time to let go, and then just add that awareness. There's nothing that you have to do other than be aware that these are connected, and that what you're experiencing today is a lie perpetrated by you as as an infant. Right? Like you have a definition of the world in your body, and that is going to that there's no words to that. There's no words to your brother being born before you or your sister being born before you. It's just what happened, and you watched it happen in slow motion in the womb. And you're like taking the jam out my donut, right? And and this other and your sibling is in the world going, I guess I'm going to take this, and they, that wasn't,
but they don't know what to do with.
Right. They're not in the position to do anything with it.
No.
But they're getting all of this praise, and they're getting all of this, from their perspective. And so why not just receive it? Even though there's this imposter syndrome lurking in every corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's painful too. Like you might be going through your addiction and mental health and all of this stuff, but like for them to not be in their position is just as painful, but but in society it may be more accepted.
Yeah.
Right. So they present as normal, even though they're hurting just as much as you.
Right. That makes a ton of sense, actually, knowing my brother. And we don't have a lot of contact, but just knowing him throughout having him in my life throughout the years, this makes total sense. I'm going to think about it a little bit more and definitely be aware of my triggers and just be aware of what
you're carrying.
Where I'm carrying, exactly.
Yeah, because if you can, if you're carrying this stupid idea that you're not good enough, or you're going to get overtaken, or you're going to get dismissed, or you're going to lose your position, that's stupid.
Right.
Don't be stupid.
Let it go.
Yeah. Well, it's like recognize that's not true. There's so many places you have held on to your position. There's so many places that you have been praised. It's not true that you're going to get dismissed.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Martin John. I really appreciate our talks.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to bring Spring Blossom up. Thank you so much, Max, for joining me. Blossom. How are you?
Wow, that was great.
Oh, good.
Lovely hearing
Yeah.
that
You sound distant.
Speaker off. Hang on, sorry. Why is it going off?
Down.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Here you are. I'm glad you're with me because I wasn't able to hear you really well a second ago.
So the persona is something we are creating, and we can change our persona anytime we choose because we are the creators of our persona. And if we create our own persona and present it to the world in whatever manner we feel in authentically our spirit coming through to join with other spirits and make a pleasant world and a happy world. Something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So I just loved what you were saying with Max, and it really hit a spot. I was playing my harp while you were speaking with him.
Oh, beautiful.
I made my own harp.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I did that in 1996 when I came back from England after being in Scotland and hearing a beautiful woman playing the harp. She was a druid, and I went back to Australia and I wanted to have a harp so I could remember the connection that I had with that woman and her harp.
Yeah.
And country my ancestors.
Yeah. I had a friend who made instruments, and she had made this big, like, industrial metal harp as one of the things that she made.
Wow. Well, mine's just a little Paraguayan harp, and it sits on my knee, basically. So it's
beautiful.
So thank you for the other night, me and my trigger.
Oh, yeah, no, that's, has that continued to resonate?
Absolutely healing, and had some great talks with my sisters today on phones. They're miles away, and so we had hour talks on the world, the state of everything, and it was beautiful.
Good. It's so important to be able to open and commune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about the ways that we, as a species, are evolving out of a harsh place into a much more beautiful world that we can all live in peace and not feel that we are powerless. That's or fearful.
Yeah, we never had to, but we were coaxed into it. And like and the Tao talks about it. Tao talks about if leaders want people to be afraid, they have to kill as an example.
That's right.
And then they do, and then we become afraid of death. But that's not natural. It's not natural to be afraid of death. It's really what we're born to do.
True. It's part of life.
So there's no need to be afraid of death. But they instilled it in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy that wrote a book called Die Well. And it's like a well just full of water. But Die Well is about, actually embracing the experience as part of life, and you either struggle with death or you give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
You want to pick a number?
Yeah, number, oh gosh, 8 came into head. I don't think I've ever heard 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
Be like water.
Is it?
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
Well, here you are talking about a well.
Yeah.
Water is humble. Oh, that is so good for what, coming out of what we talked about last time. Water is humble, always traveling to the lowest place, nourishing without taxing everything along the way. In so doing, it is like Tao. The master aims to resemble water. In thinking, she is simple. In conflict, she is yielding. In governing, she doesn't need to control. In work, she does the obvious thing. In family life, she is continually present. When one can be content with being and not require comparison or praise, it is said that they invest in their life by making of it a donation.
No.
If there is one, thing that I look at you and when I talk to you, I hear is that you make your life a donation.
I do. I do. And you make me so happy when I come on here and listen to you talking to all these different amazing people. And they're all wonderful and amazing, and so are we.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
It's an honor to be here and to connect with you all.
I can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on to Mary, if that's okay, unless you had something else.
No. Love you.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, darling.
And then Susan's in line. I don't know. Susan, were you in line earlier? I don't know. Hey, Mary, how are you?
I'm good, honey bunny. How are you? I love you.
I'm doing
love
well.
you. Are you having a bright, beautiful, sunshiny day? Remember that song? It's gonna be a bright. Don't make me sing the whole thing because I
won't. Trust me. So what has been going on in your life these days? It's been a while since we've chatted on the regular.
I know a lot of stuff, but I have to give really quick 2 shout outs. Max, you are amazing. Do not let anything hide that light that's shining so brightly inside of you. Like I was able to just connect to you on a couple of different levels, slow that busyness down. My busyness is in my mind. I think about all the things that I have to do, but I don't do all those. So that clouds my mind. But yeah, dude, just slow down and just let things come to you, and eventually it works itself out. Am I correct, Mr. Martin John?
Yeah.
We can't let it, just I've learned that, and it's taken me a long time. How long have you and I been talking, right? And we can't let ourselves get all cluttered inside, and because it's no good for us. That's part of our self-care, and I'm learning this. And
Beautiful.
Blossom, I absolutely adore you. I feel so bad because I've had to be on and off of here, right? And so she had friended me a couple of times ago and was happy, thanking me for, following her. And she doesn't have to thank me. She's a blessing. That woman is a blessing. And so I'm here again. Follow me. I just requested you. But I see her picture and I look at that face. I look at her face and I can just picture myself hugging her and just squeezing the beans right out of her and putting my cheek up next to hers and just closing my eyes and just loving her up and giving her not just a light hug, but just one of those, those tight hugs, but not something that chokes somebody. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And I could just picture her playing a harp when she said that. I could just see her maybe resting her head against it and just what a treat it would be to ever hear her doing that. So those are my two, I'm giving you love, my two giving you love messages to you guys today. And I would love to hear from you.
I
You
love
don't
that
have
this show is open
you
to
know,
just loving on people.
oh my gosh, because I just have it. Like I'm
you do.
always feeling it and feeling crazy love for people. But this morning it is just bubbling over and overflowing. And if I don't release it somehow, I'm going to explode. So y'all better take it. Okay. Because it's just like going whoosh up inside of me. And I hope that you guys feel it. I really do. So yeah. And I've had a lot going on, honestly. Whenever I kind of disappear, stuff's going on, right?
Yep.
And, it happened, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm like all happy that like I'm going longer and longer periods without something major going on. And then something major happened yesterday with my computer again. And then I looked into my school account and I saw like all the way back to mid-October where there were logins from like the Bronx and stuff like that. And, I got depressed and then I snapped out of it and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to take cybersecurity classes. And I'm going to take fundamental computer courses and I'm going to learn how to do this myself. I'm going to learn how to combat. And, peace came over me because how do why am I going to sit here and stress and get all sad? Because it's not going to last forever.
Right.
And that's just how, we can sit in a pit of despair and wallowing and sadness and grief. It's okay to feel what we feel. But the thing is, and it's easy to stay there when those issues keep, pummeling on you. But it's like, no, we've got to keep going forward. We have to figure out, okay, am I going to attack in a negative way? Which is I do nothing at all, but I cry over it and you know what I'm saying? Or am I going to be proactive? And most of the time when I'm talking about something on here, I'll say, I'm going to fight for. Okay, so that might sound and have a negative connotation. But what it means is I'm going to stand up for. Because no matter how peaceful and loving a person or people that we are, we still have that right to set our line in the sand and to be, okay, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. Something's going to be done, but it's going to have a positive effect on me. And I don't have to go out there, and massacre anything or, you know what I'm saying? And maybe that's a bad word. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying,
In Tao, we talk about that as, and this may sound not what you mean, but what we talk about in Tao is surrender. So you surrender to the fact that this is happening. You don't submit. You don't submit to the fact that you don't submit to the pressure. You don't submit to the abuse. You don't submit to anything. You just surrender to the fact that, look, there are people out there that want to take my money, and I can surrender to the fact that exists, and they want to take my identity. They want to take all this stuff from me, right? Like we can surrender to the fact that that's true, without having to submit to the abuse or to the outcome of what they're trying to do. We can just surrender to the fact that it happens, and when we do that, what do we have to do? You're gonna do what you're drawn to do, which is to take cybersecurity classes, right? You're gonna take basic computing skills. You're gonna do these things so that because you are you've surrendered to the fact that this happens. So I need to be prepared for that. We surrender to the fact that we need to eat, and so we either need to raise food or have money that we can buy food or be able to cook. And we surrender to the fact that we need food by learning how to feed ourselves, right? Same thing here. We surrender to the fact that happens, and this is how we defend ourselves or exist within a world in which that is the case.
Absolutely. But you know what? And when you and I talked, like it was a couple of months ago, that was one of the things that came up in the number that I had chosen was about surrendering.
Yeah.
And now until we actually surrender, though, and are truly willing to accept, okay, you know what? I don't know how long this is going to go on. I have no clue.
Well, it might be the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And so until I surrender and my mind is then clear, right? Only then will the ability to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to take cybersecurity classes. You know, I'm going to do what I can do, right?
This is the same thing about eating. Like, you don't know when you're going to, you're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. So you have to learn how to feed yourself.
Exactly.
And this is all you're doing. And then, exactly. it's not conflict. You know, the conflict was like, you all stop. And it's just like, oh no. Like, and it's just like telling your stomach, stop wanting food. No, you can't do that. Like, they're going to do what they want. This is what we talk about when we say living a more reasonable life. It's not reasonable to ask scammers and pirates not to try and make a living, but we are going to, you know, utilize our skill sets and utilize what we can do to protect ourselves.
Well, I'm going to tell you that, and I believe that because you know my belief and I know yours, but oftentimes they're the same, or they mesh or cross. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this has truly been, other than, which is huge, the stealing of my identity, and you know, it's totally crashed my credit report and like not being able to be verified. But there has not been any loss of cash. Okay. Yeah. So what this has been is a stealing of my peace, which is something I had struggled with, you know, just being at peace in any moment. And that was prior to all of this. So this is a teaching moment for me from God. And I know this. And I know that, well, I'm going to assume here, and if I'm wrong, because you know what they say about the word assume, that it's kind of the same with Tao. Am I correct? Situations will be allowed to occur until, like what you just said, with the surrendering and doing what we need to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Maybe, because maybe not. Maybe that's still something that needs to happen. But I mean, yeah, right. I mean, like everything is a lesson. Why don't we pick a number? Because I also have Susan on the line, and I want to make sure I get to her. Yes. So let's pick a number, and what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
No.
Number 32. Either way, however I look at it, this is good in my life.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
These are things that I have to learn to do for me to make me a stronger, better person.
Right. Yeah. And that's how Tao sees it. It's not like this won't happen. I mean, it's just like you just won't see it as a problem. It's kind of like you don't see eating as a problem, but it used to be.
It's like one of the. Yeah.
You know, like
it's
there
like
was
an
a time.
Stone that you walk on, you know.
Yeah, there was a time where eating, not for us really, but for ancient man was a chore. But now eating is just something that we do so much that we have problems with eating. You know?
Yep.
So you got number 32. It is not what you can see. And this is exactly what you're talking about. So subtle is Tao, it has never been seen. And yet nothing that can be seen is without it. Even these troubles you're having, right? Even these troubles that they can be seen. And it is imbued with Tao. When beings can remain centered in Tao, all that they perceive is in harmony. The fact that you don't see any of this in harmony, maybe taking your classes and stuff will help you see this as harmonious, because you will have the tools to live your life without fear.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
As that harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. Know that those names are provisional. If those actions inspire institutions to form, know where their reach should end. Inspired action, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. Tao is behind it all, even if you cannot see it. You know, when I read that, what I hear is like, don't get too cocky when you learn your cybersecurity stuff. Do what you can do, but recognize that this is coming from a space of surrender, not from a space of power, not from a space of action. It's coming from a space of inspiration. If that inspiration inspires a name to form, i.e. an identity that you're carrying, that you are immune to a cybersecurity threat, you will only attract more
attacks.
More bouts with the cybersecurity threats because you are trying to prove, right? Like we were talking with Max, you know, you're trying, like, I'm invincible. No, you stay humble. Stay humble.
No, it's
exactly. Not what you can see. Yeah.
Yep. And you know, as soon as you said that, I'm sorry, as soon as it started out with not something that you can see,
right,
the first thing I thought of is I can't see the cause of my lack of peace. All I can see is my lack of peace, right?
Yeah, right.
Fighting the invisible. But I'm not using the word fighting anymore because I don't need to fight.
Good for you. Surrender to what is.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is, the world, like, as we have reduced the world to just the only thing that's important is money. And that's not true for you, but it is for so many people. And so because it's the only thing that's important to so many people, there are threats against every dollar on the planet.
Yep.
And when we align ourselves with something greater, we can overcome that. Because
I agree.
Money isn't the most important thing, but we are.
Absolutely.
I love you. Okay, Susan, how are you? I know you're patient. Thank you so much.
Morning,
hey, Susan,
Martin.
How are you? Good morning.
Good. I woke up so excited to talk to you this morning. I had nothing in particular to say. I just so much. Let's see what I was thinking. I'm a second born, and I have no trouble taking time for myself and being selfish. I stayed home yesterday and did me. I meditated, I did yoga, I journaled, and I thought, well, maybe I should feel guilty for not getting all my steps in, but I don't.
Good for you. There is a privilege to being second born. Second born isn't an easy road to toe when we're younger, but when we get older, there is quite a bit of benefit to it.
I know my brother hated me, but that's okay. He loves me now,
Yes.
He realized that I have value. But when I was younger, I didn't, because I would just bug him to death. Anyway, he's 4 years older, so he didn't understand me. But the more I hear the Tao, the more I feel it in my heart. I feel it when you read it. I don't just hear it. I literally feel it.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling. It encourages me. It excites me because I can hear what it's saying. And when I first started hearing the Tao, I didn't get it. All of it, I was just
good. It's an ancient text. There's no if you got it, you wouldn't be getting it.
That's exactly right. I'm hearing it now. That's my point.
Yeah, and that's it's slow. It's iterative, right? It iterates. It's like you hear it, and then you hear it again, and it's like, oh, there's a little bit more. Then there's a little bit more, and you just slowly your mind starts opening, because until we get presented with the mystery in some way to visualize it, we're only looking at the manifestation. We're only looking at the things around us. And
right.
in it, the manifestation proves itself, like Max, if you heard Max talk, he was proving himself by all of the things that he was doing and all of the stuff. And it's like, hey, I don't care. And the thing is we think people care. And so sometimes it's important to recognize that it's okay for people to not care. It's not,
right.
they don't like, I am special and I don't have to prove that. I know I am.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank you for making time for me, because I know we're past 6 o'clock. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning so I can be awake enough to talk to you at 5. It's 5 o'clock my time.
Yeah, I wake up. I wake. So you should know, I wake up between 3:30 and 4 every day.
There you go. I'm up at least 4 every day.
Yeah, and I'm here in Central Time, so I have a couple hours to, exercise, move around, have a cup of have my decaf in the morning, and nice warm beverage, and in a kind of, in the dark of, look out the window and just kind of like take in the darkness. It's nice.
Yeah, you come on at 5 o'clock my time, so I kind of have to be up.
Where do you live? Are you? You're not in Montana, are you?
No, I'm in Sedona, Arizona.
That's right, Sedona. So you don't change clocks. You don't fall back and forth. No, that's why it's 5 o'clock. It doesn't
change. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to come on at 6. Now I come on at 5.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So I missed you when we had the time change. I missed at least part of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to say
it's good to know.
I guess I'll pick a number because I know I'm taking your time.
No. That's what I'm here for.
I wanted to say also that Max is just an amazing person. I enjoy him so much. His eyes, you can just see the sparkle in him. And Blossom is such a sweet soul. She's really a gentle soul, and she's so calming. And Mary was talking about the love she feels for everybody. I feel the same thing. I feel my heart just open when I hear these people. So anyway, my number is 18 today.
18. We spoke earlier. I forgot who it was about the dissolution of Tao. I think that was with Max.
That was Max.
Yeah, we spoke about the dissolution of Tao, and this one is out of touch with Tao. It's very similar. We do talk about etiquette again. We brought in etiquette in that one. When out of touch with Tao, etiquette is observed.
Yes.
When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy.
Right.
When all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded. This one goes through this dissolution of Tao as well. It's like there is a point where you're in touch with Tao, and when you're in touch with Tao, everything is okay. Everything is the way it is. Everything is in harmony.
Yep.
But and I liken this because I had this experience when I was younger. I'd be going over to someone's house and I'd be like, oh, you know what? I just want to get something for them so I can go and I can have dinner at their house and just give them some flowers, or, a lot of people bring a bottle of wine or whatever, I didn't drink. So, but when you'd go to someone's house, when you bring them something, and I never knew it. And when I told my girlfriend at the time, I want to bring this over. It's like, oh yeah, that's a host gift. And I was just like, a what? It's a host gift. And I'm just like, oh, well, that's etiquette. Right? So for me, in that moment, I was like, I want to bring them something. And that's Tao.
Yeah.
When you say, no, it's a host gift, now it's etiquette. Now, maybe sometimes that etiquette is Tao because you want to do it. But when we're out of touch with Tao, we lean on etiquette. So we bring a host gift wherever we go, only because that's etiquette. That's the right thing to do. But we're out of touch with Tao. We're out of touch with Tao, and so we lean on etiquette. When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. Oh, I was running late. I couldn't bring you something. I really wanted to, but but next time I'll make sure that, next time I see you, I'll send a thank you card instead of that. More etiquette, right? I'll send a thank you card instead of bringing a host gift.
Yeah,
and it's okay because,
right?
Because I would have been late. And if I was late for the dinner, that would have been worse because then your plans would have been failed, right? And it's like I'm making excuses to make it okay that I screwed up my etiquette. When those become so prevalent, we don't even have to say them. How many parties have you been to where it's like almost nobody brings a host gift? Nobody's even, and nobody, and it's the excuses that are already in the air. I don't even have to come up with one. I just don't bring a host gift. Who cares?
I didn't for years. I didn't even know that you were supposed to.
Well, good. And you didn't do it maybe because you didn't want to go to the thing, or it wasn't, you weren't inspired to do it. And that's okay. It's okay to not do it. Not bringing a host gift is Tao as well. But bringing a host gift just because you're supposed to, that's not Tao.
That's etiquette.
That's etiquette. Right. And then when we can't abide by etiquette, we find excuses to make it proper. Now, eventually, those excuses spread throughout everybody, and nobody even waves when you let someone in when they're, changing lanes. Like nobody's nice at all because who cares? We've all leaned on the excuses, and what does it say in the end? Like when excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. And so, right. And then so now, who's in the position of the hierarchy? Who's in the top position? Now, the only person that this favors is the people on top. Nobody else gets favored because we're so far from Tao.
What I hear is, I'm trying to do things from my heart, not because I'm supposed to.
Right.
I want to feel them. I want it to be me, not what somebody else is telling me to do.
Right. Absolutely.
Maybe I had to wait 75 years for this, but it's really, really freeing.
Well, it is because, what you said earlier was like, I never brought a host gift, And it was like, maybe there's a little, maybe I was supposed to. No, you weren't. And if anybody got upset at you because you didn't bring a host gift, that's because they're upset that you didn't abide etiquette, not that you didn't bring a host gift, because you naturally didn't think to bring a host gift. Just like some people don't naturally think to send a thank you letter. And if you don't send a thank you letter, although in etiquette that says that you're wrong, and, they didn't even send me a thank you letter, right? You're snubbing them. And then now they have a platform to be upset because you didn't abide etiquette, but they don't have a platform to be upset because you did abide Tao. Unless you wanted to send one and didn't listen to yourself because, it's okay that I don't send one because, you don't do that anymore. Maybe I'll just send an email or whatever, like you're making excuses.
Right.
And even though you want to do it, you don't want to invest the energy. You don't want to take that inspiration and do anything with it. Now we're getting out of touch with Tao. Now we're getting out of touch with who we are and where we should be really spending our time. Well, I'd rather just be on Instagram, or I'd rather, write this report than send a thank you letter. It's like, wait, what is more important to you right now? Mm-hmm. It's a good question.
I don't even know what Instagram is. If you want to know the truth.
Well, good. Don't even worry about it. You don't need to know. It's stupid. Like everything else. I haven't
even ever tuned in because people say I'm on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. And I just think, that's not what I do. It's just not what I do.
That's good. If you were inspired to do it, you do it. So what? Don't let people pressure you into being someone that you're not. And that's what this is talking about.
Well, I thank you so much for taking time for me today. You are just such a joy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. And you have a wonderful day. I'm going to let you go and start it. And
yes, I'm going to go do that.
Okay.
You as well, my love. And keep that Tao close.
It's right here in my heart. It's right here on my tummy.
Beautiful. I'm glad.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Dr. Robert, I know I do this to you sometimes, man, but I'm not going to be able to bring you up today just because I have to step out. If you want to send me a message with a number, I will send you the text to a number, of course, when I'm done doing this. But I have to step away. And tomorrow is Thursday, so I'm going to be doing a short day. Maybe I'll even start a little early tomorrow, just because I have that call at 1:45. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you guys and hope you have a wonderful day. My life is full, and I have you to thank for it. So thank you. Okay, this is Martin John. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.